In the summer of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, an ordinary day turned into something no one could explain. A woman stepped into the street and began to dance. At first, people watched in confusion, then in fear, then in disbelief, because she didn't stop. Hours passed, then days, and soon she wasn't alone. Dozens of people joined her, then hundreds. They danced without rest, without control, without understanding why. Some collapsed from exhaustion, and some never got back up. This event became known as the Dancing Plague of 1518. But the real question is not what happened. It is why it happened. How can the Dancing Plague of 1518 be explained through medical knowledge, religious belief, and social conditions of the time?
As a physician, I cannot accept that this is a curse or divine punishment. There must be a natural explanation. In our understanding, the human body is governed by 4 humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. When these fall out of balance, the body loses control. These people, their blood is overheated. Their bodies are forcing movement uncontrollably.
Medical professionals of the 16th century attempt to interpret the plague using the knowledge available to them. However, their understanding of the human body was limited. Rather than identifying the real cause, they misdiagnosed the condition and prescribed a solution that made the situation worse.
The best remedy is to let them continue. If the body needs to release this energy, it must be allowed to do so.
They believed that by allowing the body to burn out the excess heat, the illness would resolve itself. To facilitate this, the city authorities built stages and hired musicians, turning the streets into a theater of suffering. As some historians argue, this decision may have had the opposite effect. The presence of music and spectacle intensified the phenomenon, reinforcing what we now understand as a form of mass psychogenic illness spread through suggestion, imitation, and shared belief.
The physicians speak of blood and balance, but the people understand something far deeper. This is not a disease of some body, this is a sickness of the soul. Saint Vitus is known to afflict sinners with uncontrollable dancing. These people must confess, they must repent. Only then will the suffering end.
When medical solutions failed, the council turned to spiritual ones, not necessarily out of faith alone, but because the population needed meaning, structure, and closure. You speak of medicine, you speak of religion, but look at the city. People are starving. Crops have failed. Prices are rising. To understand this crisis, we must examine the material conditions of the city itself. Look at the records from last year. Harvest failed. Grain supplies decreased. Bread prices increased. For the lower classes, survival itself became uncertain. Economic instability, hunger, and fear created a population living under constant psychological stress. The Council of 21 faced immense pressure to maintain order. But how do we govern a crisis that has no clear cause and obvious solution? Historians describe Strasbourg at this time as a city trapped between ideologies, caught between emerging rationalism and deeply rooted spiritual beliefs. In such an environment, the dancing plague can be understood not as madness, but as a collective response, a psychological breaking point in a society pushed to its limits. The dancing plague of 1518 wasn't caused by a single factor. It was the result of a complex interaction. This resolution reveals a crucial truth. In moments of crisis, human experience cannot be divided into separate categories. The physical, the psychological, and the social aspects are inseparably connected.
İp attım ucu kaldı da tarakta gücü kaldı. İp attım ucu kaldı da tarakta gücü kaldı. Ben sevdim eller aldı, içimde acı kaldı. Ben sevdim eller aldı da içimde acı kaldı. Ankara'nın bağlarda büklüm büklüm yollar. Ne zaman sarhoş oldun da kaldıramıyorsun kolları. Ankara'nın bağlarda büklüm büklüm yollar. Ne zaman sarhoş oldun da kaldıramıyorsun kolları.